Welcome, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Thank you for hopping on our weekly noon Eastern leadership call. I am always excited when I get to interview a 200K on my team. And if you guys are not familiar with Amanda Arnett, she seriously is the sweetest person on the planet. But she's got a streak in her. She can get the job done, which is why we all love her so much. And I have been doing this for like over 10 years, and Amanda seriously has probably the biggest heart I've ever met in 10 years. And she's just amazing. And you guys that aren't familiar with her, you're going to hear her story today, and it's incredible. And her tips are amazing. So I'm super excited, Amanda. I don't want to waste any time. I'm going to pull you in. We actually tried to do this last year. Amanda was on with me about this time, and we didn't record it. Something happened and we never recorded it. So I'm super excited we're going to have a recording of it this time. And then we also have so many new people that have joined and you've seen Amanda around because she's everywhere, which is just, it's what she does. I mean, she's on every Zoom. She's always leading something out. She shows up every day, and it's why she is where she is. Truly is why she is where she is. So a lot of you guys have seen Amanda, but you don't know her story, her background. And Amanda, that's kind of where I wanted to start today is like, what were you doing before network marketing, and how did you get involved? And then how did you find Lavelle? And we'll kind of go from there.
Hey guys. So I'm excited to share. And actually it's kind of like a full circle moment for me today because and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm probably going to cry at some point during this. It's just who I am. It's part of my story, right? So back when I first got started, first of all, every single person on here can be successful. It literally is going to take a road of ups and downs and you're going to hit a lot of walls. You're going to come up against a lot of obstacles. It's going to be that decision whether you push through and you find a way around that wall or you bulldoze it down. It's literally going to come down to that. And I'm going to tell you, I live in a small town in West Virginia. I grew up really moving from place to place, all in the same community. I never had a silver spoon in my mouth. So I know sometimes people think you have to come from a certain background, or you have to come from a certain area, or you have to know an awful lot of people. I didn't, guys. I grew up in an area that there were not a lot of opportunities. I always worked really, really hard though. From like a young age, I didn't even know what the word entrepreneur, let me start there. I didn't even know what the word entrepreneur was at all. Like I had to Google it whenever I joined network marketing. Okay. I had to Google what network marketing was. I had to Google what MLM stood for. I had to Google what direct sales stood for. You guys, I had no clue. I had absolutely nobody in my family, nobody immediately around me that was ever involved in anything like this. But from the age 11, I was doing paper routes. I was shoveling snow. I was cutting grass for people. I was going out and raking leaves for people. I was always trying to find a way to provide because of my upbringing. And I always kind of was that person. I was going to make sure I was taken care of. And I was never going to rely on anybody else. And I think I learned that from my grandmother because she was always a very, very strong woman that held like everything down. And I think because I saw that, I always knew that I could never rely on anybody else to get the job done but myself. So that might be what's led me to where I'm at today, is that I've never relied on somebody on my team. I've never relied on a customer to join. I just always kept on going and kept on trying to help those that wanted to help, and those that needed the help, and those that were really hungry for it, right? So long story short, originally I wasn't going to go back to school, or I was going to go to school for, one thing or another for psychology. And then I changed directions, and my kids always tease me that I tried 20 million different avenues, but I ended up as a nurse. And back in 2013, I want to start there with where my life was. I was working full time at one hospital that, unfortunately, guys, on Saturday this week is closing its doors permanently. Um, and I imagine where I would be today if I would have stayed working that full-time job in a union, by the way, that is permanently closing their doors this Saturday. I was working there full-time, weekend midnight shift, and I was picking up every overtime shift I possibly could. I was also working PRN at a hospital down the road. That I'm actually going to do a phone interview for tomorrow to work optional part-time, because I want to dip my foot back into the door of nursing. And I'm going to get to that here in just a second. I've taken the last 3 years away from it for personal reasons. But anyways, I was working 2 jobs. I was never seeing my husband. He had been laid off the year before. We're going back clear to 2012, guys. Okay. So my husband's laid off. He worked in the coal mines. And at the time, my youngest daughter was literally, she was 2 years old. And we were so backed up on bills. In January 2013, my car was repossessed from in front of my house when me and my neighbors and my kids pulled in. And mind you, like I said, I'm working 6 days a week, 12, 13-hour shifts. Those of you guys that don't know nurses, we normally go to work early. We normally have to stay late. We don't sleep a lot, and we just stay on that cycle. That's the way it goes. And anyways, when my car was repossessed in front of my house, I just remember bawling my eyes out. My husband says to this day, we still have PTSD from the mail carriers, because we also had, we were getting letters for foreclosure on our home. Gosh, this is going to take me back for a minute. I knew that we had to do something, and I had always gone back to school and kept on working, and he was trying feverishly to find a job. But you guys, my income was so much more than his income was locally, with the mines being laid off. I live in West Virginia, so there's not, like I said, there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity. But all I knew was that I had to work, and he had to stay home at the time, because what he was going to make was going to be pennies on what I was. So we got our income tax check. This is March 2013 now we're at. And I think it's important to tell you this whole story. And I know I'm talking a lot, but I think it's important for you to understand where I came from, where I began, because some of you guys are in that same spot, right? And needing out of it so bad. So anyways, we get our income tax time in March 2013, and my mom messaged me one night and said, Amanda, you need to check out what your cousin's doing. She just earned a $10,000 bonus, and she's staying at home. My mom knew I was working myself to death. My mom knows me better than a lot of people know me, and she knows that I will go 1,001% in. And I won't come up for air until I'm so far deep that I just shut down from exhaustion. So she's like, Amanda, you need to check something like this out so that you can be home more. Because, I mean, you guys, I had a 2-year-old that I was barely seeing at the time. God, it breaks my heart to know that, like, I pretty much worked myself to death and missed from 1 to 2 with Leah completely. But I did what I had to do for my family. So anyways, I looked into, at that point, my first company that I was with for 3.5 years. When I joined March 20th, 2013, like, there was a $10,000 bonus on the line. I really didn't believe at that time that I could achieve that bonus, but I did believe that I could make money from home. So my first goal when I started was, how do I replace what I just spent when I joined? And I had joined with like a $99 kit and also a $149 like upgrade that you could get. So I'd spent $250, and I immediately thought, I need to replace this money. Like, I need it back. Like, my husband and I need this money for bills. So I sold my product, just like we teach now with our upgrade packs, to sell those as minis, get those samples in hands, because we know when people try the product, people are going to want the product, right? So I was very fortunate that I was taught that from the get-go, from my cousin who I joined. I did not by any means fly through ranks. In fact, it took me 2.5 months to hit my first rank, which is about halfway to 4K here. Okay. I needed 2 people that were actually working their business, and a certain volume that they all needed to have for it to all fall into place. I did go after my 2 customers. I did go after my 4, or getting my 4 customers, and 2 promoters, kind of similar to our VIP process here. I didn't grow. People kept on dropping off. Probably about June that year, I remember being introduced to a book, and it was the 45-second presentation, and your first year in network marketing. You guys, if you've never read these books, I suggest you do that. Why? Because that's where I started at. And so I tell everybody that. Those 2 books pretty much changed my thought process on where I was going and what direction I was going. It's actually why I decided to get involved in Instagram in June 2013, was because of your first year of network marketing. I remember very specifically that book telling me that I needed to get in front of people. Basically, I needed to get in front of more eyes. I needed to understand that many were going to join me and many were going to quit. I needed to understand that I wasn't going to be everybody's cup of tea. I also needed to understand that in the 45-second presentation, that I needed to present what I had to people pretty quickly. I needed to just put it out there, and I needed to make sure I was listening to what it was that they wanted. So this was, I mean, you guys, this is 4 months into my first opportunity that I'm understanding, like, okay, how do I get in front of new people every single day? How can I expand my reach? These are all things I didn't know, so I Googled them, and I encourage you to do the same thing. Do your due diligence and understand that stuff's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take this process where you're learning, and you have to allow yourself to learn. You have to allow yourself to fall. You have to allow yourself to fail in the process of succeeding, right? So, and celebrate each small victory along that journey. So, every time I would like uncover something, I found that I wanted to teach people that. And you guys, I didn't realize it then, but because I wanted to teach people that, it was growing my team. It was growing my belief, because I was seeing other people do these things and getting results from them. And it was like I was driven by these results, and I was driven by this excitement of teaching people something, because I never thought that I was going to be a teacher at all. But I was excited when I'd see people like open up that box and be like, I can do this too. So I knew that it was going to be a learning process, and I started teaching that from the get-go. I can remember that year going to my first event, because people were saying, get to these events, whatever. I remember changing my schedule around and getting my first event in August of 2013. This was almost 6 months into my first business, 5 months in to my first business. So this would be like getting to a local for you guys. And there wasn't any magic that happened at this local except for this. My belief grew. My belief in not only the industry and the people that I was listening to on their stage and their stories. And it was a small gathering, guys. It wasn't a super huge gathering. I'd probably say maybe 7. I mean, there's probably like 75 people in that room. I mean, it was a pretty decent size, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. I can't remember exactly. But all I remember is me sitting there, and I had only hit the first rank, which I said it wasn't equivalent to 4K. But in that room, I sat there and I thought, I listened to these people talk about being on food stamps, and now making 5 figures a month. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, what? Anyways, my belief grew. And that is such an important understanding and thing for you to have, because if you don't believe that you can achieve it, you're not going to push yourself to make those things happen, right? So I said, okay, so there has to be a roadmap to this. So I drew up what I needed in order to hit my next rank in the company at that point. And I said, okay, what's my plan? So I said, okay, I need two more people, and I need this person to have this or whatever, and we all need to get on the same page. But I also had this aha moment. One of my friends that went with me, if she promoted, I would promote. Okay, so it's just the way my first company was. If she promoted and I had one other person or two other people outside of her, I would promote and she would promote. So it was like win-win, right? Same thing here. If you help your people get to VIP 800, VIP 1600, you're going to go 4K, right? And you're doing it together. And it's not just one person doing all the work. It's teamwork. So you're fully invested in helping these people progress, but you can't do the work for them, but you can help them. You can teach them. You can guide them. So that happened there. So my friend who went with me that also arranged for the day off, she promoted that month and I promoted that month. And we signed up for our conference the very next month. We didn't know how we were going to go to it, but we started planning. And I've told this story before. We figured out how much of our product we would have to sell on hand. So think mini experiences. So before mini experiences for you to buy your conference ticket. Okay. Then it was about 6 mini experiences for me to buy my plane ticket round trip, because I found a really good flight round trip to Florida at that time. So at the same time, you guys, you could be looking at that kind of stuff for Texas now, or wherever. We don't know where Thrive-Palooza is going to be now, but you could start planning this, because now that the dates are changing, we know that you can get on the ball with possibly getting there now, where maybe before it wasn't an option and now maybe it is. And then it was, okay, well, my hotel was going to be about $200 for those days. So again, 8 mini experiences. So I looked at it like, how much do I need to sell in order to accomplish this goal? I didn't look at the obstacle that I had never done it before. I knew I was going to have to do it scared. I knew I was going to have to get out of my comfort zone. But anyways, coincidentally, I did end up promoting through. And you guys, during this time period, I want you to understand, network marketing was not huge on social media at this point in time. We didn't know what we were doing. We were spamming, just throwing the most hideous posts up. I mean, I could show you some of those posts because they're still on my timeline to this day. I was very consistent. I definitely lost a lot of friends and a lot of people unfollowed me, but I was consistent. I posted every day. I found ways to get parties together. I was signing up for Working Women's Wednesdays every week. I was basically working around the clock. When I get off of work, I would work at night. Okay. And I would work from like 9 p.m. till 2 a.m. in the morning. And my theory was, I'm going to hit people on the West Coast. I'm going to hit people on the East Coast, and I'm going to hit people on every coast, basically, at that time. I was like, from 9 p.m. until 2 a.m., I would do power hour after power hour after power hour after power hour after power hour. And people probably thought I was crazy, and I was working Instagram. I didn't know what I was doing, but something funny happened about August. Whenever I went to that event that year, something happened. I started signing people in different states. I started signing my first Canadian. I started growing my network, because I was staying consistent and because I was putting in this time that other people weren't, where other people didn't see it. And my leaders at that time were like, whoa, Amanda, you need to get on a call. We need to know what you're doing, because I was putting in customers left and right. I was signing new promoters left and right. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just working. I'm literally just working around my schedule. I don't know. But you guys, I set goals for myself where if I did X, Y, and Z amount, I could leave my per diem job. And I made that happen by August of that year, of that first year. I left my per diem job. So that freed up days and times that I could now be home and I could work. So after that first conference in January 2014 that I went to, by the way, I promoted during a time period where our systems were down. People couldn't enroll online. We had to gather their information by pen and paper because our systems were down. We had a back order of our most famous product. I'm not going to talk about the product right now, but we basically, a lot of people were going backwards and fearful and scared. And my team was growing, heads down and focused. And I was like, this is incredible. And it was mainly because we were putting in the work, we were putting in the action, and we were making things happen during very tough periods. Just like kind of like right now, we're finding a solution. We're finding a way to still, even if people aren't placing those orders, creating this community and people moving forward one step at a time, right? So, anyways, I went to my first conference in January 2014. And at that conference, again, my belief grew. There was somebody very, very profound that happened there. So there was a girl that was a rank right below where I was in August. And she was now in the top 100 money earners in the company. And she was standing on that stage. And I remember sitting there and being like, holy crap. Like, I thought I was only going to come into this making about $500 to $1,000 a month. And here this girl's making in the top 100 in the entire company. And I thought, she was where I am right now. Last year at this time, I can be where she's at next year at this time. And I remember just that belief and looking at my two girls. I had two girls go to conference with me. And I said, and you guys, there were these bonuses that were announced, that money like I'd never seen before. Like there was a $10,000 bonus, a $15,000 bonus, and a $25,000 bonus. And I looked at my friends and I said, I'm claiming them all, not one, all. And we came home, or we stepped out of that conference center. And I remember I talked to everybody, and it was in Tampa. And I gave my business card out to everybody, people that worked at the place, people that was at Hooters, like, cause we went to Hooters to eat afterwards. Everybody I passed along that street strip, I literally remember giving my card to everybody and telling them this opportunity is incredible. I remember opening my phone and I remember texting every single person that I could reach out to and tell them, listen, I know you've asked about this. And I didn't even realize then that this was my follow-up. And I was terrible, guys, at following up. But I reached out to every person I had talked to on Instagram. And you guys, back then, you didn't have DMs in Instagram. So everybody that I talked to through Instagram, I had in my cell phone, because I had to give my phone number to them and they would text me. Or we would use the app Keek, which now is like, I don't think I get on that app. I know like a lot of Canadians use WhatsApp app a lot, which I always get these weird calls whenever I'm linked on it, but I only talk to Jackie and Twin on there because I get these weird FaceTime calls from people. But anyways, these things, I texted everybody. And in February 2013, I earned that $10,000 bonus that I had originally joined to start to earn. And then in March of 2013, I earned a $15,000 bonus. And then in April 2013, I earned a $25,000 bonus. You guys, I became a 5-figure earner. I went from making $500 a month in January to making over $10,000 a month in April. You guys, that's powerful. I said, mind blown. And guess what? My team, they all promoted too. They all promoted. We all, heads down, no excuses, focus, went after this. And we did everything. You know how people tell you to get to vendor events? We were doing vendor events. We were out passing out our business cards. We were out sending out samples. We were out doing every vendor event we could. We were hanging up flyers. We were putting things on bulletin boards. We were putting stuff in little mom and pop stores where we were collecting information, doing weekly drawings. We were literally nonstop during that time. And you guys, it was this time of the year right now. Denise, can you mute yourself, honey? We were this time of the year, guys, exploding. Okay. And I want you to get the fact that we tell you that this is such a prime season because I have every single year since I have been in network marketing, either when I began or each year after, I have explosively seen my team grow during this time. And it propels you into the summer months and it propels you into the winter months. But it's the people that stay focused. And no matter how many times you say it, and listen, we're all going to be distracted right now, all of us. But when you keep your head down and focus, you're going to keep on growing. So, okay. So that's my first year. I put in that I was going to go casual at the hospital. I went from working nonstop and never seeing my kids to, holy crap, I now can be home full time and just work a couple days a month because of this industry, because of this business, because my focus never deterred, because I did the vendor events when people told me to sign up for the vendor events, even though I didn't want to do. I signed up for the Working Women's Wednesdays. Every Wednesday I would go, guys. It didn't matter if I had one person there or I had no person, that I would pass out my product and I would give samples to product. I remember doing meetings in the ER, guys, at my hospital with the freaking security guards and the doctors downstairs because they were like, what are you doing? Like, how are you making this extra money? People never heard of this, but it was my level of excitement that got me to that place. So that was, we're up to 2014 at this point. I stayed focused. My team kept growing. I kept showing up every single day. I want to make that very clear. Every single day, I show up for my business. It may not be the same every single day, but every single day I show up for my business. I show up with a vision. I show up for my team. I might not be in their messenger every single day, but they see me somewhere. Okay. During this journey, I want you to understand life is going to keep happening. It's going to happen for you. It's going to happen for your team. My next goal after I hit, and you have to constantly be setting new goals, guys. So when I came home, what's next? What's next? I wanted time freedom. I wanted extra money. I'd achieved those things. What's next? I wanted my husband home. I wanted my husband home. So over that next year, that's what we worked on. We worked on getting my husband home. In 2015, we're fast forwarding, we went from having 2 people at the first conference to having 50 people at our second conference. I want you to understand the magnitude of what happens when you go from having 2 people to having 50 people. Okay. So now 50 of my team go to that conference in 2015. We come home and they offered double bonuses, guys, double bonuses to everybody. In March 2015, I earned $100,000 bonus. I head down and ran, and my girls, we ended up earning $390,000 in bonuses as a team. And it was absolutely just astonishing and absolutely crazy. And I brought my husband home. Now's where the story gets really hard. So you're on the top of a mountain. What's next? My dad has a stroke. And this is where the tears will start. I'm sorry. You guys, all my life, I was a daddy's girl. And my dad had, after my grandmother passed away a few years ago, my dad's health was never the greatest. But he always did everything he could to care for me. Well, as my kids were getting older, with my dad's health, he would binge drink. And he was on supplemental security and living paycheck to paycheck. And my dad's roommate had died of a heart attack a couple months before. And my dad was basically living on borrowed time at this apartment that he was living at, but he was so stressed. I knew that he was going to be homeless. And maybe that was partially part of my why, without me realizing it at the time. But anyways, my dad had a stroke in March or May 2015, right after I brought my husband home, I had a very serious conversation with my husband that I wanted to find an apartment for my dad in my town down the road from me, because I wanted my girls to get to know him, and I didn't want him to have to worry about it. I didn't want him to feel ashamed. Um, we knew that he was going to recover from what he had gone through. He was very fortunate and very lucky. So my why shifted to not only just my family, but like my immediate family, like my husband and my kids, but now I could help my dad. And I could get my kids to have time with my dad, like go fishing with my dad, him come to their sporting events and all these different things. So I had no clue at that time, though, what was in the forecast of what was about ready to happen. But as you can tell, my why was legit. It made me cry, right? It made me cry. And it made me kick the excuses and keep on going. So anyways, my dad went about 6 months without hospital stays, from somebody that was in the hospital constantly all the time to no hospital stays. And about Christmas time, he started getting really sick. I still went to my conference that year because he insisted. The day I pulled out for conference in 2016, my dad called me right before I got on my plane and told me that they diagnosed him with pancreatic cancer. While I was gone in Tampa, Florida, they placed a chest tube. They nicked his liver. He had a bleed out. They punctured a lung. He had a chest tube. I come back, and my dad is highly medicated, now with a JG tube, and going to require 24/7 care around the clock. I was home full time. So I was doing meetings down my dad's house, staying with him, and doing his medicines when he came home from the hospital. I would do online events every Thursday night with my team. I would do a Sunday night team Zoom. My team would see me working around the clock. I had to. I had no choice, because now my dad depended on me. Not only did my kids depend on me, not only did my husband and I have this life that we had created, and I needed my husband to be home at that time because I needed to be able to care for my dad. I needed to be able to take him to his doctor's appointments. I'm an only child. He has nobody but me. Nobody, guys, but me. So I knew that I had to keep on working. And this business and this opportunity where some people would roll their eyes, I knew that I needed to show people that this was what my life had led to, and this is what my purpose was, and that my mission then became time, not about the money. Like, I had always been running after the dollar sign. And whenever he got sick, it became really about time, about those treasures of moments. And then I wanted to help other people have that time. You guys, that was such a dark time, such a dark time. And my dad passed away in August 2016. And I had a nervous breakdown. Um and I had to take some steps back. I kept on trying to work my business. Uh and what I'm going to say next is heartbreaking. I had people turn on me during the darkest time of my life. I had team turn on me when I couldn't provide the same level of love and compassion and care. Um, I had to go back to work. Linda, can you mute yourself, please? I had to go back to work, guys, because my checks did take a dip. Because I had coddled my team so much and did not teach them. So these were lessons that you learn along the journey. I coddled my team and did so much for them that they didn't know how to show up for themselves, because I had always done the Zooms. I had always done the calls. I had always led the events. I had always made all of these things happen. And I went back to work full time as a nurse that year, because And I'm going to tell you, there's another side of this industry that I'm not really going to get into right now, but yeah, I was offered to go to different companies. I was offered to be paid to go to different companies. My heart could not do that because I knew I wanted my team to go along a journey with me and earn every single ounce of what it is. I could have taken an easy way out, but I didn't. I didn't. I went back to the hospital and you guys, I live in a small community, right? And all these people saw me retire. They saw me accomplish all these big things. It was probably the most humbling and hard thing I'd ever done. Going back and saying, you know what? I've fallen and I need your support. I need you to grab my hand. And that's why I tell people, don't burn bridges. Don't act like you're better than anybody, because you could have at any time something wipe right out. Okay? And you guys, just like right now, where we're going through this coronavirus, I am humbled that I get to be home, but I refuse to shove it down people's throats. I am thankful, and I will share that I am so thankful, okay? But also, I feel like I have a due diligence as a nurse, and you guys, I went back at a very trying time where I struggled, but I still kept hopeful that I was going to find my answer. I just wasn't ready yet to dive back into network marketing. In January 2017, this is where my story gets better. And this is where I hope that I want each and every one of you guys that maybe are going through a really hard time right now to understand, because we're going to come out of this coronavirus. Okay. We're going to come out on the other end. You might not see that right now, but we're going to come out. And the people that have given hope, the people that have stayed consistent, the people that have really truly tried to help people along through this, the people that have stayed focused and kept on moving forward, they're going to be victorious. Okay? We're going to be victorious. So in January 2017, I get a message from Jamie Pecca, who, mind you, I was looking at some other companies, and Jamie was also just kind of done with network marketing at the time. And she's like, will you just listen and check this out? Will you try this product? I said, no, I don't want to try your crack patch. I said that. I did. I was like, and I had a very skewed view of the company because I had seen other people doing it. I had all this misconceptions of it. I had talked badly about it, and I thought, man, I can't get involved with that. Like, that's not cool. And I probably just had just a terrible mindset. Anyways, Jamie said, well, I don't know, there's these bonuses on the line. I think it could be really cool. Why don't you just try this product? Hey, will you get on the phone with Lisa? And I had seen Lisa in my previous company. And she was always sharing all these awesome tips. And that's what I remembered Lisa by, is that she was sharing all these awesome tips, and she was sharing all these trainings. I can remember her putting on trainings, and it was something that my leaders never did, you guys, in my previous company. So when I was debating about joining, and I had different companies that approached me and different people that approached me, I was very skeptical, but I also knew that I needed to have something that excited me. It got me excited, but also I wanted leadership. I wanted leadership, people that would show up and people that were giving tips other than just me, because I was exhausted. So I needed other people to have that same thing. So I want you to understand, people are watching you. And even though I didn't approach Lisa, because I had seen her giving this advice in the past, I was like, okay, I'll listen. And I agreed to that 3-way call. And on that call, Lisa hit all these spots: my needs, sleep, feeling energy, being excited for the first time in a long time. All these things, guys, that I needed to hear. And I want you to understand that's what your customers and your promoters need to hear. They need to hear not how much a product is. They need to hear what that product is doing for you and what it's doing for other people. I don't think you guys understand the level of how much those stories really truly are where the value truly lies. Okay. So I agreed to trying a 3-day sample. After my 3-day stretch of working day shift that was absolutely atrocious. And mind you, I was not the same nurse when I went back that I was before, because I was at a very dark place, a very hard working out of desperation. I had so many bills piled up, more bills than I had even before, because I had my dad's funeral bill, I had past taxes, I had all these things that I was struggling to keep my head above water. But when I tried Thrive for the first day, on day one, on a Saturday morning, by noon, I was smiling like I hadn't smiled in a very long time. And I knew that I had to tell people. I knew that I had to make a very hard decision. And I went live that day that I was, I sent a email into my company that I was with, because I knew I had to step away if I wanted to pursue this. And I stepped away from that company that at the time, like I said, there were a lot of reasons, guys, but mostly I had lost my passion. And I had lost a lot of trust from within my organization at the same time. And like I said, I just I needed a fresh start. I needed something. And these products made me feel amazing. And I knew that I could share that. I also knew that the opportunity presentation that I was given, being able to join for free, sign 2 customers, Thrive for free, get the product for free. These were all things that I had heard complaints on before. A monthly website fee. There was no monthly website fee. People could get their product for free every month. People could come in and they could earn a VIP 800 bonus every single month. Like every single person could have the same opportunity, and they could do that twice. And I was like, holy crap, like this is incredible. So my belief was there. And you guys, my level of excitement didn't stop. And that's why I can tell any new promoter that comes in, your best asset is to be excited and share what you have your hands on. Get that product in other people's hands. Use that excitement that you have from the way that you're feeling from the inside out right then and there, because that's going to be what propels you. Every single one of you. Don't worry about what's right and what's wrong about how you share it. Just be excited and share it. Want to get those samples into people's hands. Tell them what it is that happens. So you don't have to know everything. Get your sponsor in that message. Get that sponsor's sponsor in that message. Get somebody in a message with these people if you're not sure what to say or how to close them. But the biggest thing you can do is be excited and tell that story. And you guys, I could tell you that's my story. Yes, we went fast in this company, but it's because over the years, when I could have just been selfishly focused on my own team, I had shared what I learned that worked. I had shared tips when I didn't have to. I had stepped up as a leader when I didn't know I was a leader. I had invested time into reading and sharing and learning and teaching that to other people, even though I didn't have a rank. I can remember when I was like, I'd probably say just a little over probably where a 4K rank is. And I was named leader of the month by my upline, who had a very large organization, who, mind you, I was 15 levels down from. Listen to that again. I was 15 levels down from my leader that shouted me out as being a leader of the month. Why did she shout me out? Because I was teaching. I was helping her entire organization learn, right? Edification is very real. Lisa talks about it all the time, guys, for a reason, okay? And anybody that's on my team will tell you, it doesn't matter where you're at in my organization. In fact, it doesn't even matter if you're on my team. I'm still going to help you. Why? If I get nothing out, because I'm going to learn from you. That's why. And I hope that each one of you guys realize that each time I talk to you, you teach me something. You teach me something about maybe something that we're missing. maybe a way, just like when some of you guys ask, what is it that I'm doing, Amanda? Why can't nobody sign with me? Well, I'm going to tell you this. Are you mainly working on social media? Yes. Okay. What kind of conversations are you having? Is your profile public or private? If you're private, how many people are you adding every single day? What is it that makes somebody join you? You guys, we have to take an internal reflect, like we have to take a look at ourselves sometimes and know that, first of all, things aren't going to happen overnight. You're going to have to know, like, and trust people. Would you join somebody just because of a post that they made if you've never met them before? I wouldn't. And serious prospects are not going to, for the most part. They are going to want to follow your journey. Something else I did that I kind of skipped over, that's very important, very important. I took people on my journey from the very beginning. From the very beginning. When my dad was sick, before lives were like even a thing, I would update people on what was going on with my dad's journey, with his health, um, with my kids. I would show pictures. I didn't even know that these things were like a thing back then. I didn't know, like, showing my kids at the soccer field or me there with them or me going live or me talking about my opportunity. I didn't know, like, all these things were like building that relationship. My dad's journey through his sickness, me sharing pictures of him, him and I together that time. You guys, this allowed people to get to know me. It allowed people to get to know me, and that builds that know, like, and trust. And without that, I can honestly tell you, like, Jamie and I were joking last night, but I met Jamie in a Facebook group that was on our team page in 2013. We met in person for the first time in January of 2014 at my very first conference. We grew a friendship. We went on a journey together. Her and I hit many promotions at the same time together, sidelines. Why, out of all the people that approached me of joining, did I join Jamie? Because there was a know, like, and trust factor. Because there was a hustle that her and I always had. From the very beginning of our friendship, we were like compete against each other. We always try to beat each other. We always try to one up one another, and not in a mean competitive, in a competitive, a friendly competition way. Like, haha, like, you're going to push me, I'm going to push you further. And we would elevate each other. All right. And those are the kind of partnerships that you always want to find in life, are people that are going to elevate you, but also that you can elevate at the same time. And okay, so I'm like just babbling at this point, Lisa. So what would you like me to say or talk about? Because you guys, I can just go on and on and on.
I already knew I wasn't going to have to talk much on this one. I'm just joking with you. But, I was thinking about going back to, well, a lot of things you said, but as you were talking, I was thinking of things that we're not doing, the things that we're, that 45-second presentation, I call it the napkin presentation. You guys can Google it. It's free. You can download Don Fila, the 45-second presentation that'll change your life, the napkin presentation. That was a game changer for me. And same thing for me. That my first year was the first three things I read my first year and really started self-developing with were that my first year in network marketing, and then The Secret. Like, those are the books that I was like, that I based my, like, probably my first 5 years of business around. And it really is about speed and consistency. It is. It's about how many people can you talk to. And I know that I hate when people say it's a numbers game, because it makes people sound like numbers, but it really truly is. The more people you talk to, the more likely you are that you're going to run into that one person that's going to change your business. And it's just, as you were kind of talking about the last company we were with, I was thinking about how fortunate we were. Like, just our last company, if somebody came in and got 2 customers, the upline got $100.
Mm-hmm.
Not the new person that just worked their ass off to get 2 customers. The upline got it. Like, the fact that over here, we bring somebody in, they get 2 customers, and they're already running their business free the next month. They're getting free product in their account, and they're halfway to their first $60 in cash incentives and bonuses. It's insane. It's just like really insane. But one of the things you were talking about is expos and events, lead boxes. Are you guys doing these things? Because I can tell you, Amanda will tell you this too. We didn't just work our businesses through social media. We did whatever it took. Vendor events are huge. And I know right now nobody's stepping foot in a place that's more than 10 people, but once this passes, and it will, guys, because everything does,
Mhm.
you know, vendor events, they're huge. And then lead boxes. I mean, I built so much of my business with lead boxes. And if you guys don't know what that is, I don't know if boxfulofleads.com is still around. I think it is. It's called boxfulofleads.com. But they literally sell lead boxes, like really cheap. Or I made mine with a tissue box, literally, Amanda. And we would go put them
Mhm.
in any place where somebody would have to sit, oil change
Yep.
places, doctor's offices, salons,
Mhm.
any place where people would have to sit. And you literally asked people, hey, I'm giving away free 3 days of energy. That's
Mhm.
what you could say on your box. Fill out this slip. And it
Mhm.
was people entering a drawing to win this for free, but you ended up with 100 leads. It's like, those are things that, when people say, I really want this and I'm doing everything I can, most of those people mean I'm on Facebook 12 hours a day. They
Yeah.
don't mean I'm doing everything I can.
And
You know what
wasting
I mean?
time. Like, here's
Right.
the thing, like, you guys, you should be constantly being collecting new names. You should constantly be trying to grow your audience and getting in front of new eyes, right? So that's why I'm always like hashtags. Like, you guys, from June 2013, I understood the power of a hashtag. A power of a hashtag is either going to position you in front of people that you have something in common with, or that you can provide a product and offer them a solution. That is Instagram, okay? That is definitely Instagram land. And I promise you, go Google what hashtag is. The lead boxes, you guys, you don't need a training on lead boxes. You just need to Google how to make a lead box and then go and put it somewhere and then collect your leads, get creative with it, collect your leads and then follow up. That's what that comes down to. Just like Lisa here saying, like, we constantly, if you're getting new names and you're constantly having people to follow up with and you're constantly positioning yourself in front of new eyes, that's why we say join groups that you have something in common with. Why? Because eventually you're going to friend those people. Those people are going to eventually see what it is that you have to offer, right? You don't think that not everybody's going to agree with everything you do. And I know that this past week has been really tough with like the social isolation. Like yesterday, I told you guys on a Zoom, I was nervous to share that I was at the gym yesterday. And Chas, I love you, and I know Chas has the biggest heart, but I seen Chas attacked on a post because of her travel this last. Chas, guys, of all people, to be attacked and to be thought that she's making a bad example. She wasn't making a bad example. She was making a very personal choice, right? And I saw her. I was like, ooh, I second guessed myself. Like, do I post this? Like, because
Oh
people
my
are
God,
very
Amanda,
sensitive right
we
now.
were
Yeah.
in the grocery store yesterday. Okay, so I'm going to be honest with everybody on here. I have not been taking this Corona thing seriously. Everybody has their own opinions on it. I personally think it's the media making things really crazy. But I realized yesterday that they may quarantine. And if that happens, we have nothing in our house. So me and the kids got in the car and we started driving around to different grocery stores, just grabbing whatever they had left. And we were in Walmart, and we had 2 carts full. And mind you, those of you guys that don't know my situation, all my kids live with me and one of their friends lives with us. We have like 8 people in our house. Okay. This guy comes up to us and he says, this is disgusting. I cannot believe you need all these groceries. You're hoarding. Like, dude, we were getting in a fight in the middle of Walmart with somebody that just had an opinion. And I was like, this is not worth it, guys. Let's just walk away. And it's because right now tensions are so high and everyone has an opinion on something. I mean, he didn't know our situation. He doesn't know we have 8 people in the house and we were out of everything. Like, he was thinking, if you guys have watched social media, a lot of people are like blaming hoarders right now. thinking that the reason why we can't get toilet paper is because these people that have literally a basement full of toilet paper right now, because they're like treating this like the apocalypse. But we have to all be understanding. I think right now, really watch what we're putting on social media and
Mhm.
just be there for people. Just be a good human, because a lot of people don't have, I think, the luxury of what we do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which is, we're I think when you get in an industry like this, you become a really good person, if that makes any sense. You
If
don't
you
sweat
choose
the
to.
small stuff anymore. You don't judge people. You start understanding people more. And I think that's what people are needing right now.
Yeah. And here's the thing, guys, is like this morning, okay, like really good interactive posts, right? Like if you guys notice, I'm sitting here wearing this. Why am I wearing this? Because my kid made me wear this today so that she couldn't pinch me. So I made a post about that this morning. We're vitamined up. She took her vitamins. I took my vitamins. You guys, if you go to my story right now, you'll see that I did part of my 30 I did 30 squats. I did 30 hip thrusts. My dogs are walking all over me in the process. I told my husband today I need to clean my downstairs so that I make a little area for a space for a gym. Anyways, like I'm taking people on this journey of me being home. I'm going to go for a walk when it stops raining later, and I'm going to take people on that journey, and it might be in my stories, it might be on my timeline, I don't know. But right now is the chance that we can utilize this interactive post. I've been going back to like 3-4 years ago type of interactive post of what's your what song are you embarrassed to listen to, or anyways, people just want something to do to break the coronavirus, like just like all the talk and so forth. So just get creative right now, take people on this journey of like where you're at, make these connections, make some lead boxes, like Google how to make a lead box, and then as soon and maybe sit there and make a list. What businesses could I contact afterwards? Could I go into? Like, do you know any mom and pop stores? Do you have any nail salons near you? A lot of the nail salons, guys, will let you because people are sitting there. If you say, you know what, would it be okay if I put this box in your window? And then people can take one of your business cards and they can fill out their information. I believe that we actually have like the lead forms on Lisa's page, maybe. You guys can Google lead forms, okay? And all it has to have is their name, their email address, their phone number, and what they would be interested in, or if they would be interested in energy, or you can put like the different stuff that we offer: sleep, energy, vitamins, appetite control, mood support, whatever it is. Like you can pick any type of thing that we carry, and you could even skincare now, right? So you can put all these different things on there. And right now is the time that you can kind of utilize our inside, right? So our social media. Like I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I am 1,000% on my game every day. I'm not. But I work my business differently than a lot of you guys do. I'm more focused on relationships, and I do stay consistent with my product. Everywhere you look, you can see my product. Everywhere you could see that I take Thrive. But I'm not constantly shoving it down people's throats anymore because I have built a following of people that know what it is I'm doing, but you're still seeing it. But I don't have to constantly sit there and be like, buy my product, buy my product, buy my product, buy my product. I put out those posts here and there. I put them in polls. I survey people. I reach out and follow up with people based on what they post, because I'm not afraid to let people know, like, hey, I have a solution. The other day when I went to that Botox party, we walked out. People knew I worked from home during the party. I didn't talk about what I did. You guys, we walked out and somebody says, "Oh my God, is that your car?" And by the way, I'd already friended everybody in the party. Yeah, that's my car. And then guess what, guys? I got 3 new people thriving before we even pulled out of the parking lot. And the next day, I'm getting messages about their first day of thriving. Like, I can't talk people into doing that. That was their choice. They wanted to try it, and then they were excited about the way they felt. We can't replace that feeling for people, right? We can't we all we can do is offer these things and grow these relationships and show people what it is that we're doing, how it is that we can help them, what value can we give to them.
Yeah. I
But we got to
agree.
stay consistent. We have to understand that it's going to take time, and it's going to be, I think honestly, that's probably one of, and I was saying that about the Botox at the Botox part. Most people want instant gratification. Okay. Well, I didn't know this. When they like poke your lips, you don't actually see what that's going to look like until like a couple days later. You don't realize, like, they could like put a whole crap ton in and you're like, oh yeah, put some more. But then you're like, oh crap, I shouldn't have done that. Right. Because it's not till a couple days later that you're like, oh, whoa. All right. Like that's big time. But I think that most people want that instant gratification in our business too. And they give up, they quit. And then guess what happens? Your friend that saw you post when you quit, you're no longer posting. So now that friend goes and finds somebody else that they want to join that is posting, that does have that solution, that they say, oh, I remember Amanda used to post about that, but then she quit. She quit doing it. So I'm not going to join her because she doesn't really do it anymore. How many times have you guys come across people that have said that maybe they were an old customer, maybe they tried a sample, but the person they joined quit? I come across it all the time. All the time. So, yeah.
I hope everybody just stays super consistent right now, because what is happening now is going to be a lot of the reasons why people start looking for a plan B, even when this is over, because they're going to go, wow, I wasn't prepared for that. I need to be prepared if something like this happens again. And, that's why we just have to keep doing what we're doing. Stay consistent. Do what you've always done. Post about your 3 steps in the morning. Share with people. Offer value. Share stories. I mean, there's nothing different that you need to be doing except, you know, be more out there, but don't stop doing what you've been doing. And I think that that's going to be the biggest mistake of a lot of people, because right now this is the time of year where we need to be really working this business as hard as ever. And I can tell you, no matter what Lavelle is doing, they're not going to not announce things because the conference was postponed. Those announcements are still going to come. So we need to be prepared, ready, consistent, doing all those right things, because this is gonna be a huge year for us, a very big year for us.
It is. And I think too, not getting hung up on negatives, guys. Like, you've got to learn to find solutions. Like, I once heard, and this has always stuck with me, that the key to success is being resourceful. And I'm going to tell you, I truly 100% believe that, because in all areas that I've ever can remember, every hurdle that I've come across during this journey, it was always trying to find a new solution, trying to find a solution to the problem, and trying to figure it out, and not waiting. And like I said, this stemmed, and the whole reason why I started my story telling you about growing up was because I want you to understand this was stemmed into my system from a very young age, okay, that I needed to become resourceful. I needed to find an answer. And I think so many times we try to use a crutch, okay, and we try to use an excuse or whatever it may be. And the thing is that we all have access to Google. We all have access to YouTube. We all have access to the internet if we are on here right now. That means we all have access to the same success. Okay. I live in a small town. I basically build my business all through social media. However, I use every single opportunity that I can to grow relationships, to meet new people, to friend people, whether it's my kids' soccer team, whether it's my classroom moms, I'm volunteering, whether it's people in my community that are coming together, that are doing things that I want to help and give back on, whether it's some kind of community group. I friend people in community groups all the time because of good deeds that they're doing and people that I want to surround myself with. Every day, guys. Like, when you're asking, who are you friending? I'm friending people that are also bringing value to my life. Why? Because those are the people that I want to surround myself with. And you shouldn't just be friending people just to friend them. You should have a reason. So when they message you and they say, why did you friend me? I can honestly say, because you're a nurse because you're positive, because your memes crack me up, because I saw that you're giving back in our community. I have an answer to my purpose of people that I friended, and you should too. You're not being spammy if you're being a good person, if you're being somebody that actually has good intentions. Okay. And if right now you're coming into this just because you want to get a sale, you better change your mindset or you're going to have a lot of failure. That's all I'm going to say. You better
Yeah,
change your mindset
amen.
and not be so selfish, right? Because selfishness will never lead to success in this industry.
Amen. And people are opening their eyes right now to how important it is. I mean, my daughter yesterday said, she works at a restaurant and she's like, Mom, if the restaurants get closed, I'm not going to be making any money at all. She was like, thank God you do what you do. And they were talking last night. She had like 4 or 5 friends over and they're all like, tell us about what you do. Like this younger generation, because I think it's like eye opening that the people still getting paid right now are the people that have residual income. And it's a, it's a huge thing, guys. So, well, Amanda, I want to thank you as usual for, sharing your heart and for, the honestly, even throughout your story you weave so many tips in, so we didn't miss out on lack of tips at all with this, so I appreciate you. And we did get paid, you guys.
Oh,
Just so thankful, like seriously so thankful right now for people that their jobs are being affected. That we have a paycheck coming in, whatever that is, it's still a paycheck. And I like I say it every Tuesday. Those payday posts are powerful. They're powerful. If you don't think somebody's watching, they are watching. And it's times like right now where they actually might have the nerve to reach out. Those ones that have been watching. So don't forget, make your payday post today. Don't stop. Don't The one thing I want you guys to not do is question every post. Don't go, oh my gosh, who am I going to offend? And what if this or what if that? Just keep doing what you do. That's it. Right? I mean, that what you don't want to do is getting that stall mode where you're thinking I don't want to post the wrong thing. The wrong thing to post is nothing at all. That's the wrong thing to post. So just make sure that you're active and consistent and doing all the right things right now. And we will definitely be weathering this storm. And Amanda, thanks again. I appreciate you. And thank you guys to all of you for plugging in today and staying on with us and just pouring into yourself, especially right now. It's going to be key over the next couple months that you guys are plugging in and staying motivated and consistent for yourself and your teams, and getting on stuff like this keeps that motivation high. And you never know what nugget you're going to pick up that could change your business forever. So thank you guys all for joining us again. Thanks, Amanda. Love you, honey. Happy payday, all.